sponsors. Encouraging, educating, and empowering you into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady ReShell.
Hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. It's Testimonial Monday, and our topic for today is Become a Cancer Boss. We are live on Intellectual Radio. We just heard from the Drive FI with Roman. Keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. On the last episode of Warriors Talk, Dr. Marshelle and I discussed how to stay healthy as you age. You can head over to YouTube and type in Intellectual Radio and stay connected for any episodes you may have missed. The quote of the day is, "The human spirit is stronger than anything that can happen to it." And that quote is by C.C. Scott. And here are your trending topics for today. According to NBC News, President Joe Biden announced Sunday that he would end his presidential re-election campaign, bringing an abrupt and humbling conclusion to a half-century-long political career and scrambling the race for the White House less than 4 months before the election. Biden, 81, could not reverse growing sentiments within his party that he was too frail to serve and destined to lose to Donald Trump in November. He backed Vice President Kamala Harris to replace him in a Democratic nominee. President Joe Biden prepared a statement on Sunday, and it reads, "My fellow Democrats, I have decided not to accept the nomination and focus on my duties as president for the remainder of my term. My very first decision as the party's nominee in 2020 was to pick Kamala Harris as my vice president, and it has been the best decision I have made. Today, I want to offer my full support and endorsement to Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year. Democrats, it's time to come together to beat Trump. Let's do this." Ooh, and we're going to see how this goes. All right. If you are tuned in on any form of social media, please like the show, share the show, invite someone else in on the show that you feel may benefit from this valuable information. And remember, you can follow Warriors Talk on all forms of social media just by typing in @Warriors Talk with the number 1. My special guest today is the founder and CEO of Wellness for Life LLC, a digital health and wellness coaching and consulting company founded to inspire women to not do cancer alone and to believe you can live beyond a diagnosis. She helps cancer survivors advocate for their own health and wellness so that they can navigate through the healthcare system with confidence. She's a national board certified health and wellness coach and the author of Become a Cancer Boss and Cancer Won't Stop Me. Welcome to Warriors Talk, Marshelle Harris. Marshelle Harris, hey, what's up, girl?
Hey, girl.
How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm excited that you are here and that you agreed. You said yes, and you're willing to share your experience, your wisdom. I know individuals are going to walk away empowered today. So I just want to jump right into the conversation and talk about what was your introduction to cancer?
Yes, I was initially, cancer. I was initially introduced about 5 years ago doing my mammogram, actually. So basically, let me back up a little bit. So basically, my experience with cancer was my mom. She was initially diagnosed with breast cancer. And so I was kind of familiar with it. So I had been had been getting my exams every year since I was probably about 36 years old. I got diagnosed at 42, but I had been getting them every year. And my doctor, my radiologist, she was really great. I was doing the 3D mammograms, and I'll also get an ultrasound at the same time. So mammogram, then ultrasound was just like clockwork. But in 2019, my radiologist wasn't there. So I just did my mammogram, and then I came back in about 2 weeks later because she said it was some areas of concern, which wasn't really alarming to me because I had dense breasts. So it was always areas of concern. And I just had to come back and do my ultrasound. So I'm thinking, oh, this is fine. But when I came in, we did the ultrasound, and then she said that it was a new area of growth and she was concerned about it and I should have a biopsy. And I was like, are you sure it's not more serious or my this breast area? She was like, this is a new area, so we do definitely have to get it biopsied. So I was very afraid of getting a biopsy. I've never had one before. I didn't know what to expect. So I wanted to do it the next day versus having it done that day so I can bring someone along with me. And that's kind of how it got started. I had to wait about 5 days or so before it came back. And she called me over the phone and said that my test was positive.
And so, just so in case someone don't know what a biopsy is.
Yes. And so I did a needle biopsy, and basically is when they take a needle and go inside wherever they see a lump or the area of concern, take a piece of it, and they take it out. And they numb it up really, really great. So I had an area under my arm and in my left breast that they was concerned about. So they biopsied the area, took a little piece of it and a sample, and they tested it in the lab. And then it came back positive.
Now,
for cancer.
So because your mom was already diagnosed, then you were alarmed to say, okay, this is something I need to look out for. So you informed your doctor about your mom diagnosis, and then they started having you getting tested early.
Yeah. So I was supposed to get tested 10 years early than the year that my mom got diagnosed. And I wasn't sure how old she was. I thought she was maybe around 46 or 50 years old. So because my mom has passed. So I didn't know how old she was. And these are questions that, is important to share with family because it will affect your children. And so I didn't know. I didn't ask the questions. My mom didn't share the information. So I wasn't really sure. So I had to kind of guess.
So you bring up a good point about sharing the information. I know a lot of times when people have a cancer diagnosis, they're private about it. It's a shame associated with it for some reason. I don't know why, but they're afraid to share the information because a lot of times we ask crazy questions and we make the person feel like they've done something wrong to deserve that diagnosis. So a lot of times people don't want to share, so they'll keep it to themselves. But you bring up a good point about now you had these questions about what she went through and you had to kind of piece it together on your own. So how has you changed communicating with your kids or family members about cancer and your diagnosis?
Yeah, so now I'm very open about, my cancer diagnosis. I'm an advocate for breast cancer and actually anyone with cancer, but especially breast cancer. So I let my kids know about it, my age, like everything is written down so they don't forget. But they're on this journey with me. So they know now that they have to start getting screened. Like my daughter, she has to start getting screened when she's 32 years old. And normally the age is 40 now, but she would have to start at 32. 32, 10 years before I was diagnosed. And so that's something that she's aware of. And my son, he's aware of his risks in our family history and on both sides of the family, his dad, and of course, my mom. And so it's some things that they both have to be concerned about, and they are definitely aware of it, and we communicate. And since I went through my journey now, I tried to collect all the information from my aunts, my uncles, my grandparents, everything that I can kind of collect and be aware of. And I even got genetic testing. And so now that I've done that, my children and my brothers and sisters will be able to get genetic testing too, if they choose to.
And genetic testing is so important because it arms them with some information that they can take to their doctors, or they can take just to have for themselves to know that, hey, no, I didn't test positive for the BRCA gene, so I'm really not concerned about these particular cancers. But to still be concerned or alarmed because your parent or your father or mother did have cancer. And you don't want to scare the kids like, oh, because I had cancer, you're going to get cancer. It's
Right.
just for them to have the information to empower themselves to take charge of their health.
Yes, and it's so very important. And I also told them that it's only like genetics only play 5 to 10% of a role. So that's a very, very small role. So my genetic testing came back. I didn't have any genetic, findings, which was great. So it wasn't a genetic cancer, even though my mom did have breast cancer. But most of the people that are diagnosed with cancer have no family history.
Yes, I think they don't understand that. They say what 10 to 15% of those have that hereditary link, and that 85% do not. So that lets you know that something is going on in the lifestyle, the environment that is causing that cancer to happen.
Yeah, it's a very low risk.
Yes. Now you having kids and you're arming them with the information. They get the genetic testing done. Are you having conversations because you have the daughter? How old is the daughter right now?
She's 25.
She's
She
25.
hasn't got tested yet.
Okay. So, because my concern with women is that we know that breast cancer is being diagnosed younger in women, especially African American women, and I like to arm them with information about like fertility. When you go in, ask them about all those different questions, especially if you're diagnosed at a younger age to where you don't have any children, or if you do have kids and you want to extend your family. Like that's something that you should have a conversation with your doctor about, because a lot of times they won't have that conversation because they're trying to rush you into treatment.
Exactly. Yeah, I had a couple of friends that are very young and they haven't had kids yet, still wanting to have kids. And that was one of the conversations I had with her to make sure she talked to her doctor about that, because she wants to have babies. So make sure she get whatever procedures that she needs done. And so she did. And so she's able to freeze her eggs and have that available to her that she didn't even think that she could have available, because if she didn't ask, they wasn't going to tell her.
Wow. Can you share with us, because I know for a lot of people, faith plays a big role. How did your faith increase or decrease, as you were facing your cancer battle?
Oh my God. My faith was so tested when I got diagnosed with breast cancer, because really I thought I was doing everything that I knew to do. I was doing everything I needed to do, and I was like eating healthy. I was exercising. I had like even got this whole filtration system for my house. I wanted to have clean water. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't know, all these things. I was like, I'm not getting cancer. Like it was already on my radar. And I was like, I'm not getting it. I tried to do everything. But stress was something that I really couldn't control. It was a lot of stress in my life, a lot. And the year of 2019 was like the worst year I've had. Like, yeah, it was a terrible year. Everything that could have went wrong, and then some. And so when I got my cancer diagnosis, I was like, Lord, really? Are you serious? I was like angry. I was mad. I was sad. I was depressed. I was embarrassed. I was feeling a whole array of emotions. I know what I was going to coming, but I eventually had to just face it. We had a conversation. I had a conversation with the Lord. I was like, Lord, what is going on? Like, what did I do? Like, it's just, you ask all these questions. You come up with all these reasons why somebody else should have it and you shouldn't, because I'm a good person, And it was really hard. It was really scary. I felt alone. But at the end of the day, I guess the biggest question I had is, Lord, do you love me? And I was like, I was like, you must don't love me. Like, you must don't love me. And so that was the hardest thing I had to deal with. And once I answered that question and figured out that, yes, Jesus loves me so very much. And this happened to me. It felt like the worst thing that has ever happened to me. It was the worst thing that ever happened to me. But now looking back 5 years later, I can honestly say it was also the best thing that happened to me. Because it was a wake-up call. It was a wake-up call to let me know what I doing was not working. I was taking care of everybody else and not myself. And, all those things it just kind of surface level. Everything came to surface and I had to deal with it. And also my relationship with Jesus got so much better and stronger. So
I think
it
a
was
lot of times we feel like we have this awesome relationship with God, and then you go through something, you're like, ooh, I am so far from having a good relationship with him. Then you find yourself building that relationship, and it gets stronger. But a lot of times we feel like the little stuff that we do, I guess I can identify with it before the diagnosis. You thinking that is stronger, and it wasn't. And you get that wake up call, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, what do I need to do to get my relationship with him in order?
right.
So that you can go through this diagnosis in faith and know that um, he allowed it,
Hmm.
and whatever his will is for it, you have to go through it.
Yes. Yes. And one thing I realized, is one thing to believe that Jesus can heal, but it's another thing to know that he did. So I felt like I was chosen for this battle. I was chosen for this purpose. And I decided, Lord, if you let me live, I will dedicate my life to serving others. I will share my story. I will help anyone on their journey of wellness. Um, this is part of my purpose now.
Was your relationship with God one of your defining moments in your cancer journey, or can you explain what was a defining moment for you?
It was kind of like, I grew up in the church, so of course, I always know who Jesus was, and like I loved him, but I kind of felt like I didn't really have that strong relationship that I needed to have. I kind of felt like at that time, I was going through so much in my personal life, like I was going through a divorce. Actually, I had got married and got divorced in 9 months. So, I had got married and I realized I had been putting him before God. I just kind of focused on that relationship. I was giving it like my everything, and I was not giving God my everything. And so he's a very jealous God. And it's just like everything just started falling apart. Everything started falling apart. And it really, at that moment, is when I just like fell to my knees and I was like, Lord, you got my attention. I'm here, my hands is up, whatever you need. And I was like, please do not leave me. It really just got my attention that I needed to change everything. Cancer is life changing. Like it will change your life. It definitely changed mine.
Absolutely. How was others around you, aside from your kids, accepting of your diagnosis? Because you were a person that exercised and you ate right and you were doing all these things,
Mm.
that they would say that would prevent or decrease your risk of getting cancer. How were the people around you? What were they saying?
A lot of people was like in disbelief and like they couldn't believe it. They was like, like you're like the healthy one. And so I think it was a wake up call for them as well. Like anyone can get diagnosed with cancer. It doesn't matter. Like kids get diagnosed with cancer. So everyone can, we can lower our risk and decrease our risks. And then that's what we should focus on every day because everyone actually has cancer cells in their body. And our immune system, if it's strong, is able to do what it needs to do and kill those cancer cells. But when something is going on with you, and it could just be a whole lot of things that happen at one time, and your immune system just wasn't there for you, and those cancer cells kind of built up and you got cancer, you got your diagnosis, you got a cancer diagnosis. But, and so they was really, really surprised. Like they couldn't believe it. I think they were a little bit concerned about their health and they started doing better. So yeah, it was definitely a wake up call for the whole family.
Yes, I agree with the stress portion of it because I can identify like 2 years before my diagnosis, I was the most stressed. And then the diagnosis come and you're like, what just happened? And you try to deal with stress, you try to release it, by exercising. But for some reason, your body is not able to cope with it in the right way. And yeah, those cells go rogue and then there's nothing you can do about it. It'll turn
Yeah.
into cancer. Rizal says keep doing the right things even when those things are going wrong, to keep doing them.
Yes. And one thing I got to say about stress too is like stress can cause all kind of diseases, not just cancer. High blood
Absolutely.
pressure. It can even cause diabetes. Stress is like the silent killer. So like I remember when I thought I was dealing well with stress, At one point in time, I was waiting for my surgery for reconstruction. And then I was trying to sell a house and I was trying to buy a house all at the same time. And all those things are stressful all by itself. And I was doing all three.
Wow.
And I thought I was managing the stress, but I ended up getting shingles.
Wow.
I don't know if anyone's ever had shingles before, but it is not fun. And so I realized, and I was like, I asked my doctor, why did I get shingles? Like, my immune system is strong. Like, I've been doing all the things still. And my immune system was down. I mean, it was a stressful time. So every time I'm like overly stressed, no matter what I tell myself in my mind, my body can't be fooled.
Right.
So your body experiences stress, like, no matter what we tell it. So we have to manage our stress. It's very important to do that.
Yes, that's an awesome point. I like that. I was thinking about, as a Black woman, it could be stressful to hear that when it comes to breast cancer, we have the lowest survival rate of all subtypes, right? Whenever we get cancer, for some reason, even though the incident rate with us is not higher than that of a Caucasian woman, for some reason, when we get cancer, we tend to die.
Yeah.
What do you think we could do differently to change those statistics, if we can?
I think it's going to take a village. I think it's going to take a community. I think it's going to take all of us having conversations with our family, sharing the knowledge of the things that we know about our family history. I think it's going to take us eating healthier foods, cooking more at home. I think it's going to take us like knowing and educating ourselves on what causes cancer, and then eliminating those things that cause cancer. So, knowing those things, like, for instance, smoking, drinking, being obese and overweight. A lot of us, have these extra pounds, starting to move our body every day and exercise it and getting sleep. Sleep is so very important. So sometimes, it's just we go on the go. But one thing I can say is when I had a cancer diagnosis, I finally began to stop. I didn't feel like I had to do everything. I didn't feel like I had to be Superwoman. I only do now what it is I want to do. And the things I don't, I say no. And no is a complete sentence.
I do not blame
So
you.
I choose me, and I choose my health, and I choose my wellness. And I am really big for self-care. So I have to take care of myself so I can take care of others. So it's very, very important to just have those conversations and try to do everything that is cancer fighting.
Yes. So talking about self-care, so you are a health coach, and I was just wondering what got you started or what inspired you to choose that career?
I decided to be a health coach because I kind of felt like I was already doing it. Like, everybody was coming to me for advice for wellness. I guess when you kind of are doing a thing, everybody kind of see you're doing it, and they was coming to me anyway. And I found the job online as I was leaving my other job. I was like, I need to leave this job that I had before. It was very stressful. And then the health coach position, I'm like, this is something I love. I love health. I love wellness. And I love sharing with other people and helping everybody else be wellness. So this is the best job. So that's kind of how I got into it. I left one job for another. And then I got my certification. And now it's something that I do on my own in my own business.
Can you kind of explain, for those who don't know, exactly what a health coach does?
So a health coach or wellness coach, what we do is we help people reach their healthcare goals. We help them learn more about their diagnosis. So, for instance, if you have diabetes, you may get the diagnosis. You may not even know exactly, what it is, how you got it, how to take your medication, what to eat, because a lot of times the doctors don't have a lot of time to discuss a plan with you. So as a health coach, I can develop a plan for you that's going like a meal plan, an exercise plan, tell you actually what it is and how you can reduce your A1C, get it down to a healthy number. We work together for, like, say, for example, 3 months at a time, or however you choose. But we kind of work on whatever it is that you want to as your goal. So whether you want to lose weight, whether you want to lower your blood sugar level, lower your blood pressure, or if you want a cancer plan. Yeah.
What would you say are some misconceptions that people get about someone who's a health and wellness coach that you have encountered?
Sometimes people think that you have a medical certification like a doctor or a nurse. Some of my clients call me a nurse, some of them call me a doctor. And I'm like, no, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a nurse. I am a health and wellness professional or entrepreneur, I call myself. But yeah, sometimes that can be confusing because I think they feel like, that relationship is more developed, and I kind of feel like they get more education from me than maybe they do their doctor, because it's really usually a quick 15-minute visit and they're out. Or either they just used to calling everybody doctor. I don't know. But that's one of the main ones.
What would you say are some of the biggest benefits that you have seen in your clients who work with a health and wellness coach?
I love seeing them reach their goals, like to see that they lost weight, or to see their numbers coming down, or to see the impact that eating correctly has on their health. Like, it's a really rewarding for me to do. So it doesn't feel like work. It feels like I'm living in my purpose. And so that's what I really love about it.
What kind of practical tips or strategies would you give someone who's looking to improve their health and wellness?
Well, I love to tell people to start with everything free first. So I have 6 pillars of wellness. So mainly I would just tell them to work on those things. And so first is sleep. So sleep is really the foundation of your health. So if you're not getting enough sleep, then you usually are not going to feel like exercising. You're going to be craving foods the next day. You're going to be tired at work. I mean, everything is just going to kind of be not great for that day. You're not going to have a great day. I know when I don't get enough sleep, it's not a good day. I don't even like me when I don't get enough sleep. I'm like, I'm going to stay home today, So I make sleep a priority, and I always tell people have a bedtime. So try to have at least 8 hours of sleep. 7 to 8 hours is perfect, and set your bedtime at 10. If you got to get up at 6 or whatever, make your health a priority. And sleep is very, very important. And then hydration is very important. Our body needs water. We're made up of like 80-90% of water or whatever. We need lots and lots of water to function. Our cells need it to function. We need it to detox. Even our brain needs water. Like, everything needs water. So drink water, and not just any water. Make sure your water is clean, because that makes a difference. Also, take vitamins and supplements. Eat lots of fruits and vegetables, because we have to supplement our foods as well, because the nutrients are just not the same as it was 50, 60 years ago. So like an apple today, it doesn't have the same nutrient content as apples that we get in the store. So I do recommend superfoods. So hopefully you guys are using superfoods in your diet, because those are really, really important.
Yes. Make health a priority. That's a good point.
Yes.
You get this one body, this one temple. And so whatever you put in it is what's gonna come out of it. So you got to make sure you're putting in the right foods to give you that fuel that you need.
Yes. And in my book, I talk about all the things that I eat that I feel like are very nutrient dense. I talk about what I ate before cancer, doing treatment, and what I eat now. And I talk about lots of natural solutions that can help heal your body from the inside out.
Awesome. So for those individuals who are interested in becoming a health and wellness coach, what advice would you give them regarding like certification or training?
Well, I'll say find something that you're very passionate about. Maybe an area that you was at 2 to 3 years ago, and you can help someone else get through it, just from your experience. And being a health and wellness coach, you don't need a certification to do it. You actually can do it without being certified. But of course, you'll be more respected if you do have your certification. And there are several places that you can get your certification from. And it's like a board test that you go to take. It's like it's a very hard. It's really hard. The test is very, very hard. I mean, I feel like they treating us like we're taking a medical exam or something.
Right.
It was very intense, but you will be certified. And it's like, so they offer the test maybe 3 times a year. You go before the board. You have to go to like one of those testing centers and everything. And you have to sign up for it. The application fee is $450. Yeah.
So it's an investment. It's an investment in your life.
Yeah, it's an investment in
Definitely.
yourself, and you're
Yeah.
worth it. So
Yes.
yeah, so that's what you can do if you want to become certified, but that's only really needed if you're going to go work for a company and they want people to get their certifications. But like the company I used to work for, they actually pay for your certification. So
Oh,
That is even a better way to get it done. But if you're just doing it on your own, you really don't need to have a certification.
Wow. Great information to know. If you are tuned in right now on Warriors Talk, we're live on Intellectual Radio, and we're speaking with Marshelle Harris. She is a health and wellness coach, an author, advocate, and she is telling us about things that you can do to improve your health. She says to make health a priority. And Marshelle, I know that you have these two books that I want to talk about before we close out the show. And the title of the show is Becoming a Cancer Boss. And that's one of the books that you have out. And I want you to talk about what can someone do to become a cancer boss?
Yes. So in my book, How to Become a Cancer Boss, Unlock the Keys to Boss Cancer and Not Let It Boss You. In my book, I focus on 10 keys that I feel like helps you on your journey of wellness. And of course, we don't have time to dive into 10 of them, but the top 3 I would recommend is establishing a resilient kingdom mindset, self-advocacy, and becoming your own best advocate, and then including natural solutions because they change everything in your life. It's very, very important to include those natural solutions in your life. So when I say establishing a kingdom mindset, because I feel like nothing really happened as far as my healing and me being able to accept the diagnosis until I got on board with my mindset. So I believe that nothing can happen in life until you decide to do it, until you're all on board. Even when it comes to us having a relationship with Jesus, he will not even come into our lives until we say, yes, we want you and we accept you to be our Lord and Savior. So even he is a gentleman in that area. So nothing on earth can be done until you have a made up mind. So you have to decide that you want to be well. You have to decide that you want to be healed. And you have to decide that cancer came into your body, but you are going to do something about it. And you will need to take charge and decide that you will heal and decide to take action. And so
Yes.
that's part of what I did. And I believe that that's important. And then another thing is to be your own best advocate. So you have to invest in yourself. You have to know your body, and you should know your body better than anyone else. And that means educating yourself. It means having those relationships that support you. And that means even when you're going into your doctor, wear your Sunday's best, like the outfit that you wear to work or church, look nice, look presentable, because it matters as we show up, especially women and men of color. It matters how we present ourselves. Prepare your questions in advance. Ask those questions when you go to your doctor's office. And due to disparities in healthcare, we know that um, there's going to be challenges. So just kind of be aware of that. And that's why I say be your own best advocate, because you have to advocate for yourself. Because the first time that you want or need something, you may not be able to get it. But do not give up. Keep going and stand strong on what it is that you believe that you need and want. That
Yes,
is very, very important.
that is important because a lot of times they may be afraid to advocate for themselves, especially when you get a no. You get that initial no, you don't qualify, no, it's not, under your insurance, and you walk away, you feel defeated.
Mhm.
But but
Yeah.
you're saying no, continue to advocate for yourself. And if you're not getting that answer right there, then maybe you need to change doctors or reach outside of that particular doctor's office to get your answer. And that's the reason why these organizations exist. So, because they have resources that will help you, like you said, navigate through the healthcare system with confidence.
Right. And sometimes you may have to end up getting a new doctor. If you and your doctor are not jiving, they're not listening to you, they're not listening to your concerns, your desires, your wants, because all those things matter, then you may have to change and get a new doctor. And sometimes we don't necessarily want to do that because we don't want to seem like a problem patient or whatever. But this is your life. This is your body. You have to take ownership of that. And you have to listen to the intuition that God gave us. And if He is telling you, no, you should be doing something different, if this doctor is not listening, you have to go somewhere else. You have to. And there's nothing wrong with getting a second, third, or even fourth opinion if you need that.
Yes, that's your right. That is your right. I
Mhm.
always say before you make a decision, you should have that peace of mind. And sometimes for individuals getting the second opinion, that third opinion, even if they all say the same thing, it kind of gives you a peace of mind. Like, you advocated for yourself. You went out there to
Mhm.
get an answer. So don't ever feel like you can't or you shouldn't. and you feel bad because you want a second opinion. You have it right.
Right. And I teach a lot of examples of that in my book, and I teach people and my clients how to do that. I arm them with lots of resources, education, experiences, so they can have the right questions to ask, know when to ask the questions. But that's very important. Doing yourself breast exams. And if you're a man, you can get breast cancer too. Do your self breast exams as well. Make sure you get all of your annual exams as far as your prostate checked. And we have to do all of our annual exams. And go get your annual exam. Some people just are not even doing that. So get your eyes checked. Like, get everything checked out. Get your blood work done. Know your numbers. It's very important to know your numbers, so you can see when something is going wrong, because sometimes you may not feel bad. You may feel great. When I got diagnosed with breast cancer, I felt great. I mean, I was exercising, eating right, drinking more. I mean, I'm like, what? But I feel good. I'm not even in pain. So it doesn't matter that you feel great. You still need to go get your exam. So that's why it's important to know your numbers and know your body. And also, I think it's important to take responsibility, be proactive and not reactive in your efforts. And so for me, one thing I do realize, no matter where you are, no matter what health challenges you are right now, it's very important to have unwavering faith, take massive action, have a strong will to live, and never give up. Like, even if you still have a diagnosis or you still have cancer in your body, never give up. Still focus on your health goals, what they are, and know that food is medicine. And so that's one of the things I talk about in my book as well. I show you how to use natural solutions, and I show you how to use superfoods, because herbs are powerful, plants are very powerful, and even essential oils, they have like changed my life. They have changed the game for me in my regimen. And so I have a free ebook I'm going to share with everyone here today, if you're interested. And I have 10, no, not 10, I have 30 cancer fighting superfoods that I would like to share with you in my ebook that I put together for cancer, anyone that wants to fight cancer. So it's 30 cancer fighting superfoods. And I will share with you 3 of my favorite superfoods. You may have heard of them, maybe you have not, but I'm going to just show you how amazing superfoods are. So moringa. I don't know if you ever heard of moringa before, but it is 2 times more iron in moringa than spinach. It's 9 times more protein than yogurt. It's 7 times more vitamin C than oranges. And it's 4 times more vitamin A than carrots. It's 3 times more potassium than bananas. And it's 4 times more calcium than milk. So that is moringa. And that is in my ebook as well. And spirulina and chlorella, those are both algae. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of those, but I love algae, and it's so great for our bodies. So spirulina, it has no fiber in it, but it is great for brain health. It's a complete protein. It has collagen in it. It gives you great energy, lots of iron. Also, it has phytocyanin, which is why it has this blue color. But that also kills cancer cells. So it's great for in the morning because it gives you lots of energy. And then chlorella is kind of like, I call them brothers and sisters in the algae family. So I take my chlorella at night, and it's a green algae, and it does have fiber, and it's really great for the gut health. But it also improves your immune system. It's 500 times more chlorophyll in there than arugula. And I don't know if you guys ever heard of chlorophyll before, but that's a really great detoxifying supplement as well. And it cleans your blood. It's just really great for your overall health. And I get very passionate about talking about superfoods and health and things like that. But those are some of the things that I talk about in my book.
Rosal said, let the food be your medicine and the medicine be your food.
Yeah.
Now, Marshelle, have you ever got any pushback from people saying, oh, I don't want to use the natural stuff. I'm just going to use like the Western medicine. I'm not sure if it's going to work or how it works. And my doctor said, don't use it when I'm taking, the Western medicine.
Yes, I have had a few people say that, oh, my doctor didn't say I could do this, or my doctor didn't say I could do that. I'm like, it's a lot of things my doctor did not say I could do either, but I do my own research, and it's my body. But I also let them know, I understand, please do what your doctor say, but if you are ready, I'm always here. Give me a call. I can help you.
Yeah. It helps to have that.
I realize some people are not going to do anything that their doctor don't say, but it is other people that want to do everything they can,
Yes.
Natural, traditional, everything. And that's what I did. So, yeah.
Can you tell us where did Cancer Won't Stop Me come from? How did you come to that conclusion?
Yes. So my first book, Cancer Won't Stop Me, really, I kind of just wrote it. I didn't even know I was going to write this book. It kind of happened. I had been journaling all along, like through my journey, because I kind of started a YouTube channel and I was writing things down because you get chemo brain when you're in treatment. So you can't remember anything. So I kind of wanted to know what was happening each day. And sometimes I would go back over and look at it. So I was journaling along the way. And then when I got to radiation, I was there because I had to drive 2.5 hours for my treatments every couple of weeks, but radiation was going to be for 5 weeks. So I was like, what am I going to do here for 5 weeks? Because radiation is maybe 5 minutes, 30 minutes at the max by the time you get dressed, undressed, and go in for your appointment. And then I had the rest of the day in the hotel to kind of figure out what I was going to do. And God told me to write my book. So I didn't really know how to write a book. So I took a course and got a book coach.
Wow.
And that's kind of how I got started with that. And Cancer Won't Stop Me is like, I don't know. It just came in my mind. God gave it to me that Cancer Won't Stop Me. And that was the title of the book. Cancer Won't Stop Me. Unleash your power within to not just survive, but thrive after diagnosis is the complete title. But it was actually part of my healing process. When I got ready to write and get everything out and kind of remember what I had been through, it was really healing for me to actually write this book. And I really decided to write it also because I remember in the middle of the night when I was trying to sleep and I couldn't. And I would always be trying to look for stories of other survivors that was going through what I've been through. So I would be on YouTube trying to find someone who maybe posted a video. Any books I can find with someone who's sharing their stories about, hey, how they got through cancer. I was like trying to read all the books. And so I was like, I need to do the same thing for someone else that might be searching. They may come across my book and my story and I can help. So I'm like, even if I can help one person, this is my goal.
What advice right now can you give to someone who may have just been diagnosed with cancer, already diagnosed with cancer, just finishing up treatment, on how they can become a cancer boss and not let cancer boss them?
I always say to them, connect with Jesus. He's my source. He's the reason why I'm still here. I don't know how people do it without him. But for me, that's what I would say do first. And know that your words have power. And so don't say that you have. Say you was diagnosed and say that you will live and say that you would get through this because what you say, your body lines up with that. If you don't believe it, then it won't happen. Like if you don't think you're going to get well, then your body going to be like, okay, so just start, even if you don't believe it, like, because you're going through a tough time, still write out your affirmations, read your Bible, try to think positive thoughts, try to eliminate any stress in your life. Like anyone or anybody that's stressing you out, they have to go. I tell my friends this all the time. Like if anyone's stressing you out, just tell them you're going through a time of healing. You'll talk to them when you get better. Like whatever you got to tell them. But they got to go and start changing everything. So any toxic environment that you have, like look at what you put on your skin, look at what you're putting in your body. If it's anything that's toxic or has chemicals in it, you got to change that. You got to change your nutrition. We always said food is medicine, and you have to sleep and you have to detox. But basically, just try to have a great support system. Look at what you're doing in and on your body and try to laugh a lot and sleep. Find a doctor you can trust. Get a second and third opinion. Anytime you're not sure about anything, just get another opinion. If it lines up, then you'll feel great about okay, well, this is the right thing for me to do. If it don't, then you still have questions.
What's next for Marshelle? What's coming up?
So next, actually, I'm working on an anthology. And so I am helping 20 to 30 cancer survivors actually share their story. So for someone who don't really want to write their own book, but they do want to get their story out, or they would like to be a part of the project, I would love to have you. And I'm looking for cancer survivors, thrivers, or even previvors to be a part of it. And I'm going to publish the book hopefully this year, once I get everyone involved and get their stories. And that's my next project.
Awesome. So I put the link there that you can go get some more information about the anthology, and let her know if you have any questions. Go to the informational session so that you can get all the information you need to be a part of this incredible anthology. Now,
yes, it's going to be really wonderful.
I want to put the books up here so anyone who wants to
yes,
go
and I
and
have
get
my
your
books here to show, just so you guys can see. They're on Amazon and they're on my website as well. If you want them signed, you have to order from my website. Of course, if you order from Amazon, I won't know. So,
and I do have the other one here. And how can individuals stay connected to you?
So on all my social media, I am Marshelle Harris. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everything. TikTok, I'm even on TikTok. And I see my link tree there. So that's how you can find me. And if you want to go to my website, it's MarshellHarris.com. Simple.
Awesome. Marshelle, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on, educating the listeners about how to take charge of their health, how to become a cancer boss, and basically not letting cancer stop them. Just because you received a diagnosis, it doesn't mean that you have to stop living. There are still things that you can do to take control of your health.
Yes, ma'am.
So I appreciate you guys. Make sure you follow Marshelle, get connected with her. If you're a cancer survivor and you want to be a part of the anthology, make sure that you connect with her. I know she does speaking engagements as well. So if you guys want to get her to speak for you, do a coaching or a workshop, just connect with her. She's a very powerful individual and she has a lot of information that you guys can use. Marshelle, thanks again. I appreciate you.
Yes. Become a cancer boss in your life and your health.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You guys do not go anywhere. Coming up next is Pillow Talk with God here on Intellectual Radio. And I will leave you with these words of wisdom. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. And that quote is by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Join me next Monday right here at 6 p.m. on Intellectual Radio. As always, thank you for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we are changing lives one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on IntellectualRadio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.